Hi there, everyone. In this episode of An Engineer's Guide to Hell Let Loose, we're taking a look at the Rijn Banks hard cap on the Driel map from the German perspective. And as you can see from what we have up here on StratSketch, we have the soft cap, which is the big red square I've drawn over the four squares that are the capable sector. The strong point of the hard cap is that circle in the middle. Rijn Banks is fairly central in the capable sector. It's also somewhat larger than some of the other strong points. I'm not going to go through how the attacks might complicate, how your German attacks might complicate the attacks that might come at you from the British. And even if they did, it wouldn't affect my recommendation as to where you build. If you're familiar with the map, you have some idea of what I'm talking about. But let's hop in game and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so here we are in game. We're looking down at Rijn Banks, the strong point. You see that there's trenches up there in the front and there's trenches back here. And from the strong point we saw on the map just a moment ago, that pretty much delineates the front and the back of the hard cap. That's us looking out towards British lines. And we're going to turn now to kind of the key to the point. For me, it seems like it's this backside. And the attack I'm really concerned about, this is the backdoor attack that I had drawn up there on that map, coming down from the bridge, and it could come from pretty much anywhere. Right? You can go all the way down the bridge, you go under it. But if the Brits get over here, basically in these violet flowers, they cross this road and they get into this set of also violet flowers. Rijn Banks is in a lot of trouble. There are these little waterways here. You can hear people, but they're a little hard to see because it's depressed and there are the foliage on the sides. There are also these trees here that have quite a bit of foliage on them and make it difficult to see. And so as an attacker, it really does obscure the sight lines the defenders can draw on you, as opposed to coming from the front side, coming from, I'll say, well, it's the west-southwest side, but other parts of your right. This would be the attack if you're going to try to hug the side of the map. This is the east side attack. It's hard to find any concealment, any cover on your way in. There is this little lip back here. It's kind of the exception to the rule. I think that's a fine place for a defensive garrison. But for what that's worth, I mean, any of these other backside attacks are pretty much coming through the open. It's this set of waterways in the backside where the British are likely and rightfully going to expect to have defensive OPs, maybe garrisons as well, that they're going to want to get into. And it just so happens to really be the way that they have some concealment to approach the hard cap. The other way I drew up on the map is the frontside approach. You can't rule it out, and it has to do with the terrain. Of course, on Driel, you can just walk through the water. It's not Remagen as it is currently constituted, and you can never be sure that you got everyone that came across. And once they get up to this bank, all the way to the bridge and almost all the way down, it flattens out right at the very edge of the map. Any of the Brits can get down, they can use that elevation, and that clump of trees is Rijn Banks. It's not far away. It's not a very open shot, but it's they're somewhat close. That's the front side attack. It could occur. You want to be aware of it, but it's probably not the optimal attack because there are lots of ways to defend it. So cutting right to the chase, I hope. The main build spot I would recommend is this position around this clump of trees. The reason is, let's actually get in there, it's just inside the soft cap. We haven't pushed out too far over here. So we're over here. It looks kind of to that southwest. You're also going to build barricades off to the side that do look back towards the front door attack. And we're going to set up obstacles and make sure that we have some way of harrying that backdoor attack. All right, so specifically what I look for, I think you need about 450 supply for 3 level 3 barricades. The first is going to take this southwest angle. The second is kind of looking back at the direct front door attack. And the third looks back towards the hard cap. This third is a little risky. If you lose it, you've gifted the other side something that they can use against you, but it's there to kind of serve as a backup in case the front line trenches get overrun. I don't recommend building in front of the trenches because it's too close to the hard cap, and I'm trying to get folks to defend out from the hard cap, and I'm not sure how much you can actually see over this little ridge in front of you. And I actually wouldn't incentivize people to be too close to that. You should have a bunker and at least a barricade left. I think I'd recommend, if time permits, but this would be secondary to the 3 barricade build, say put the level 3 bunker looking this way with the opening looking that way. And then I'd say you could use the last barricade here, or you could actually just put it in the field, actually barricading, and you'd also have a little hole to peek through and shoot through. And if you lose it, it's not the end of the world, because the British can't really sit here and get the hard cap. They have to move on through it. And what you want to be doing with the rest of this area is throwing up your barbed wire, your hedgehogs, your anti-personnel mines. What you do with anti-tank mines, if you even have time to do it, is going to be up to you. But it's really about eliminating the easy ingress path through the back door, and then putting up kind of this just one, all right, maybe 2 areas where you're going to drop supplies and you're going to do all your building. And that allows you to disrupt the front side attack and also to flex quickly to deal with any sort of backside attack. If time, for whatever reason, seems to be super abundant, you can't really tell armor what to do, but you can try to incentivize them. If you can get a friendly medium or heavy on defensive duty to come up here, this is kind of where the bank almost levels out with the road. There's a whole lot that they can see. So if you give them a repair station back here, that might incentivize them to consider going over there and doing that. My final thing, it's going to be beyond your control, but if this is the defensive point, a nice friendly recon tank, or the German light tank would be great for backside defense. It's mobile, so it can flex into the soft and even the hard cap if it has to. But if you're worried about airheads or just other chicanery in the backside, something like that, it could help immensely. But that is going to do it for this episode of An Engineer's Guide to Hell Let Loose. If you haven't played that much Driel, or you haven't ended up defending it as the Germans, give it a whirl if you're not sure what else to do, and report the results.